Patty Cantrell, and I'm the director of the New Growth Community Development Corporation, which is a co-host of this event. So the purpose tonight is to connect with farmers who would like to explore development of web stores, online sales. As we know, online grocery shopping has grown exponentially, and also farms have lost some of their commercial accounts. So we are so pleased and thankful that 7 commercial farms that have web stores are joining us tonight to share their experience with you. I'd want you to know that we are dedicated to having a question and answer period at the end. So you can use the chat function to enter your questions, and we'll monitor that and have a question and answer session. And if we don't get to all the questions, we will have a summary and get those questions answered on our website afterwards, and that we'll give you that link later. But again, brought to you, and Dan, if you could advance the slide, by New Growth Community Development Corporation and West Central Missouri Community Action Agency. Together, we are trying to build rural opportunity in West Central Missouri. West Central got food systems programs going a few years ago under the direction of Katie Nixon, one of the farmers who will be presenting tonight. And we are just really grateful for our community and so many partners coming together around not only building healthy food options for our community, but also business connections. And so those are a list of some of the programs, and New Growth is working also on entrepreneur support, also rural transportation, and many other systems that we need for the opportunity in our rural area. So we would like to move to the first presenter. One of the farms tonight is Kat Becker with Cattail Organics in Athens, Wisconsin. We're going to move to her and have her start. Each presenter will be about 10 minutes, and then again we'll have our question and answer session. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me? Hopefully. Okay, I'm just getting my slides set up here. Hopefully I'm on. Are you setting up my slides or am I doing it? Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm doing it or someone else.
I think you're the presenter, Kat, and we can hear you.
People can see it. Sorry, it looks different than a computer did from the. Okay, so I'm going to try to be fast here. Am I good? Okay, great. Apologize for any bad rural. It seems to be working okay. And that will be a little bit part of my presentation. So my name is Kat Becker. I'm located in North Central Wisconsin. My first slide, some phone screenshots of my online store using my phone. You're welcome to go and look at it right now. My disclaimer, and I think when Katie reached out about presenting and people that had experience, is that this is very new to me. So I just went live with my store this week for the first time. I used to have a Square marketplace for some CSA transactions, and my plant sale is going live tonight. And so I'm still working on some glitches with different computers and phone formats, but I'm going to run through kind of how I got to my decision to use WooCommerce. So some background information. I'm located in North Central Wisconsin. It's quite chilly here. We don't actually have a lot to be selling right now, which is kind of fortunate because we had about a foot of snow, so I've had some time to invest in this work and getting everything online, which I think is probably a little bit different down in the South. I produce about 4 to 4.5 acres of vegetables. It ends up being around 6 because of double cropping. We do quite a bit of season extension. And in 2019, we grossed about $150,000 from our farm. The farm has different components, which you can see here, but we do an 80 box a week. It's ends up being about 120 member CSA based on the different share frequencies, as well as a small flower share. So we have spring shares starting at the beginning of May. Those are smaller, and then we go into our summer season in June, and then a fall season which runs October through December. I do a little bit of farmers market. This is a big part of how I'm pivoting my business right now. Just in the winter, it's a high volume pretty good market. We're in a fairly rural area, so I do well at that time of year. But a lot of my income, as you can probably see here, is from small groceries and co-ops and restaurants. And so the groceries and co-ops are a little bit volatile right now, up and down, really heavy, and restaurants are non-existent. None of the restaurants we work with are doing carry out at this time. And so that's not a possibility for us. I'm working on trying to convince them to do some food boxes. Because we're very far north, most of our most profitable months are August through November for us. And some of our strengths are that we're very good at managing inventory. That's something that we're just naturally good at. And unfortunately, the two areas that we expanded for 2020 through written contracts were restaurant and summer school accounts, which both are not happening. So why WooCommerce? And I'm kind of reading through this. I needed something so that I could basically get people to start buying stuff now while I figure out the system, as I have more and more items for the summer that I have to move. And as I decided to really increase the amount of seedlings that we sell, it has been a pretty small portion of our business, and it was a big opportunity because we have greenhouse space, as well as having to deal with home delivery. A lot of the people that we serve have health issues and are elderly. So we're just like wrestling with that. The other thing about my farm is that there are certain items that people like love that are ours. Carrots are kind of like our leading item at our wholesale venues, like carrots. So people kind of fight for them, try to reserve them. I haven't had a system to deal with them. And so the idea of moving stuff online is that I basically make people do early large, say, farmers market by leading them there with the items that are in short supply. In order to absorb, I don't really want to change our planting calendar, because I do believe that our restaurant accounts and schools will be back in the fall. And so those items which are really high and gross for us, for those are that lettuce, specifically tomatoes, microgreens, greens, and beets, which are a harder sell. The other thing is that I'm just experimenting because it's a time to do that. I also have a WordPress site, and so WooCommerce fits naturally with WordPress. It might as well. If you have WordPress, I think it's worth looking into because it's virtually free. And I have a guy that barters for almost nothing, great at doing web stuff, and he's been basically helping me set everything up for an additional. The idea with setting my sales that I am going to lose at this point, and I don't think they're totally lost. Evolve. Research into template systems. So I looked into some of the other systems that we'll talk about. Barn to Door is one that I most seriously considered and had some big conversations with them. Expensive, somebody that I could hire, but then also pay well, or pay what he wanted to be paid. Also, if I decide that I want to pay him for more work locally. Also, I don't personally like the upsales model, which is also embedded in Harvey. The idea that somehow the costs are absorbed by either your customers paying more, which in our rural area isn't a really big sell, or selling excess, like you're selling more stuff and that pays for it. But that stuff still has a cost of production on my farm. And so we have very little waste on our farm. And so trying to sell extra is not a good way to really fund anything on our farm at this current point. And so I didn't feel like that model worked for us. Also, our internet is really bad and inconsistent, and like in the middle of barn to door demos, it would like stop working, and that wasn't not even like a live website I was trying to deal with. So I needed something that worked well with our slower internet. The other thing is that none of those formats really worked well for my goals, and then also could be switched into working with my wholesale accounts because of the way that I have different purchase prices and different negotiations with different accounts. It would have been like a series of many different types of coupons, which to me seemed really complicated and a lot of work on my end. I also already customized my CSA, but I don't use like a Harvey or those weekly exchange models, mostly because we do live in an area with quite bad infrastructure. So people aren't on their phones and the internet all the time trying to switch things on and off. So I use a survey at the beginning of the season, and then I use that to craft their boxes through like an Excel spreadsheet. Basically, it's pretty simple. I do think that barn to door specifically, which someone else will talk about, is good if you have a larger inventory, and if moving from wholesale to retail would give you a higher value so that your system would have more money in it ultimately by making that switch, if that makes sense. Let's see how I'm doing on time. I'm just looking, I'm a couple minutes. WooCommerce is functionally free. It does have some plugins that cost money. Some of them don't, but it had really easy plugins for like aggregation, pack lists, individual invoices. It interfaces with Microsoft Excel. Well, you know, certainly when you're choosing what you're doing, make sure it works with the system you already had. That was one of my concerns with other systems, is that we don't, we use Excel for accounting now. I moved back to that because it was a better fit for us. And so a lot of the other programs really are not built for that specific accounting system. Squarespace, which someone else will talk about, is great. My old farm had a Squarespace website. If I had that, I would have used that, but I wasn't going to change my whole website over at this point. SquareUp, which I did have before, I had a storefront, is what many of you may have a credit card reader through already. But I felt like it was clunky and difficult and not very hard to customize into many different sub-stores, which is kind of what I needed at this point. And so I still use it to take payments, but I don't use it as my storefront. I do think it's a great starter storefront for people that have more stable inventory, value-added goods, meat, things where you don't have a million items that you're moving around, and then also depending on how segregated your markets are. And then last but not least, this is not what I do, but really email, social media, and Google survey are really powerful tools. And I think people should really consider those as first steps as you're considering spending a lot of money or moving into other systems. And people are pretty good at adapting to a couple of systems. So you don't have to like go do barn to door and have it set up in 2 weeks. You can put in some kind of temporary measure using Google surveys for each week. That's how I customize my CSA shares. If you have an email list or social media, people can go in and take the Google survey and basically have an order. They're easy to aggregate in Excel. You can set it up so that people have to use PayPal in order to process their order using a Google survey. They're pretty easy, and it takes like 20 minutes to set up. WooCommerce has been pretty easy, but I'd say entering items, if you have a lot of inventory, entering that for the first time, a bit of time, especially with like images and all of that, which I think is one of the things that's nice about the ready to go systems, is that they have stock images and stuff ready for you. So that is it. I am gonna just quickly show you my, this is like not exciting, but let's see if I can get to my WooCommerce screen. Can you guys see that, or can you only see my, oh, sorry, I'm really like not that good at, I'm going to share something else. Hold on 1 second. And then I'll go away. Hold on, let's see if it'll, okay, it'll let me do it. I'm gonna show you what the back door of WooCommerce looks like. It's, if you do use WordPress, this is your normal WordPress. Can you see that now, or is it tiny? Oh, there you go, this is your normal WordPress. WooCommerce kind of attaches here. It has its own dashboard, which gives you like statistics. You can see that I just went live, and most people pay with check. For me, the orders are over here. I have 6 orders through it, and I still have people emailing me orders all this week anyway. Coupons, which I just figured out today, are here. Customers, reports, settings, status, and then for products, you basically can add products, put them into categories. It's a very simple system that kind of mirrors WordPress. So if you use WordPress, it'll feel really, really familiar. And you can use it by itself just as a storefront without WordPress. You can buy or get some templated kind of storefronts from them. Some of them are free and some aren't. So I can add in like, it's not letting me do that. I can add in Basil. This is not how I add things normally. I can categorize, ooh, it's hard to do this with this. I can categorize them over here, like as a seedling sale item. there's like a place you add a picture, you add price. It can tell you if you take tax out of it, etc. So I will be done and let another person talk, but thanks for listening. And if anyone has any questions, I might have to and feed my kids at some point, but feel free to email me or call me. But I will be on for the full time, just probably not after. Thank you.
That was great, Kat. And again, this is Patty Cantrell moderating the show here. And I want to remind everybody that you can enter your questions in the chat field. And our next presenter, this is really great. No, we're actually going to David's Pastures next. Remy Keaston from Concordia, Missouri.
Remy, do you see the screen sharing icon there? We can't hear you yet either. There you go.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good deal. Hi, everybody. I'm Remy Keston from David's Pasture. We're out of Concordia, Missouri, just about an hour east of Kansas City. You go through on your way to Columbia. Anyway, we do meats, pretty much all meats that you would find on a small farm, as well as milk, eggs, and we sell things like produce, coffee, and soaps through our website from other farmers around us that use our own products a lot of times to create those value-added products, and they all line up with our standards otherwise. Can you see my screen? Or do you see me? Okay.
We can see
I
Katie.
mean, we see your screen. Yeah. So if you share your website instead of me on the screen, then people can see your website. Oh, he's frozen. Well, it looks like his screen has frozen up. Oh, the joys of technology. There we go. You're back now.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to all right, I'm trying to share my screen. I did something wrong.
There you go.
Can you see me?
No, but we can see your screen.
Okay, now you can see the screen. Okay. So this is the front page of our website. Someone verify that you can see it.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. All right. So we use GrazeCart. We started farming 9 years ago, and we started off with a Squarespace website, which again, I love Squarespace and I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a static informational site, and we started off using that, super easy, inexpensive, and then we took all of our orders through a web form, and we quickly outgrew that when we started pickup locations, and we moved to a platform called ZenCart, which is a free open source platform. I don't recommend it if you're a farmer. I thankfully have some background in computer design, web design, and programming, so I was able to make it work for us for 2 years. But we decided that was more work than it was worth. So upon shopping around, I came across GrazeCart. It was started by Seven Sons Farms in Indiana, who is now doing, I believe, several $1 million in sales a year, doing what we're doing, following the polyface model, and just like several other farms. But they would be one of the larger pasture-based farms in the United States. Anyway, they were already years ahead of us. They were selling stuff by the pound, which was the big check mark that we had to have for any website. And there were really only two that we could find, which is GrazeCart or Barn to Door. Barn to Door back in 2017 was still kind of early on in the game, and they were still charging a 1% to the customer, which was a big turnoff for us. So we decided to go with GrazeCart. It was built by people who knew what we were doing, and we wanted to head in that same direction, so we decided it was a good fit. I talked to Blaine for a couple hours before we ever did it. You get a 14-day free trial where you can go ahead and start setting up your website, decide if it's a good fit for you at no cost. And then after that, here are their costs. We're currently on the Scale Up plan, which is $199 a month if you pay yearly. And then they have plans above that as well. Smallest plan is 60, as you can see here, and all of this information is available on gracecart.com. So the front end of the website is very easy to edit and make look the way you want. There's a lot of sites that are hard to customize to your liking, but we found GraceCart to be very customizable, very user friendly, even if you aren't a very techie person, I guess, as the saying goes. And so we really like that. It's easy. GraceCart does have good documentation on how to do that. If we go to the admin, I'll show you the back end. Let's see here, excuse my internet too. So this would be your dashboard. You can see here recent orders. Here would be a low inventory screen, and your upcoming deliveries at the bottom here. So like I said, products are priced by the pound, which is very essential for meat producers that we found. As you can see, a lot of things are hidden because we're out a lot of things, as many other people are. But one of the other nice features about GraceCart is you can set up bundles. So let's see. So for example, a half beef bundle has all this stuff in it, and instead of having to bundle it separately, GraceCart does have a live inventory that's very intuitive, and you can run reports for inventory. You can easily change it. And then for bundles, we can set bundles to run off of the inventory of other items. So instead of having bundles prepared ahead of time, we can put bundles in there using all the cart items. And then when a bundle gets ordered, it automatically subtracts one chuck roast, one filet, one ground beef, so on and so forth. And then we just go grab those retail cuts out of the freezer to put our bundles together. That way we're sharing inventory, but we're also not screwing ourselves up by overselling one way or another. We can set up pickup locations in delivery zones by state or by zip code, which we will be using in the next few months to start our shipping program, 1-day ground shipping. But we currently use this for our own deliveries, which we do with minivans twice a week to the Kansas City area. And then you can also set up pickup locations, which are also known as drop-off points. And these are one of our bigger sales channels, along with the market, which you'll notice we also have a pickup location set up for. The Brookside Farmers Market is the only market we do, and we allow people to pick up here. We are now at the point where over half of our sales at market are just people who are paying ahead of time and picking up at the market, which is a huge turning point for us. Makes things way more efficient at market, especially if you're trying to only do it with one person, which we are this year. And so far, it's been working out pretty well for us. And then with both these pickup locations and delivery zones, you can set up a schedule, which makes these super easy to keep track of. And then for each schedule, you can set up the pickup date, the order start date, and the order deadline for our farm pickup. As you can see, I can have one here for 5 days of the week, and they start a week ahead of time. So they overlap. So someone can place an order on Monday, they can choose to pick it up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, up to a week ahead of time. I believe I have it set up on the farm pickups. You can set reminders for the schedules. So somebody that has their delivery preference sent to pick up at the farm would be on this schedule, and then I can set a reminder to send out 0, 1, 2, 3 days in advance at whatever time I want. And then I can customize this email in the settings, and that goes for, they'll also get email confirmation, welcome email, and you can change all these however you'd like them to be set in the settings. We actually use Drip for email marketing, which syncs seamlessly with GraceCart and works out really well. And we're actually switching over to using that for most of our emails. See inventory, customer page. Well, let's go to orders. People create an account with the zip code, name, email, password, and then when they check out, they'll be asked for their phone number and also their address. Regardless of where they're picking up, we like to have that information because sometimes at a pickup location, you'll be able to contact someone, or we'll just go ahead and deliver to their house if they're close by, and sometimes more efficient than waiting around. On the order page, you have all kinds of filters here. There's different order statuses you can use to sort your orders by where they're at in the process, and you can sort by pickup location, search by product. One of the nice things about products is you can sort by tracking groups. So I can also go to reports. You have a location sales report, and you also have a product sales report. And what we do when we go to pack orders, we'll take all the orders we're getting ready to process, put them into, mark them as processing. We can run a product sales report. We can print one off for frozen product, dry product, produce, etc. And then we go in the freezer, pull all that product, sit down and pack orders. And it's very well organized. GraceCart also has really good support. Like I said, the team that built GraceCart is using this every day to run over $1 million in sales a year. We're doing about 250 to 300,000 a year right now. But they know what they're doing. If there's an issue, it gets solved very quickly. And they also have a really great Facebook group that is used not only by the admins, but also by a lot of other GraceCart users. It's basically a forum for people to come together, share ideas. And it's done really well. We really enjoyed that. And it's really also opened up a lot of good networking and connections for us. The last thing I want to touch on was...
We'll have to wrap in 1 minute, okay? Thank you.
Okay, and last thing was you can do wholesale. You can set up an unlimited amount of pricing groups for GraceCart. So each product can have different pricing groups. So wholesale to retail, wholesale to restaurants. You can change one-day shipping zone, include pricing, so on and so forth. And of course, anyone's welcome to reach out to me personally if you have any more in-depth questions. So that'll be it for me.
Thank you, Remy. Our next presenter is out delivering, and we think she's on the line. It's Sherry Shanker of Shanker Farms in McCune, Kansas. We're going to see if she can get her on the line.
Sherry, can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yay, there you are.
Hello? Okay, there we are. Yes, I'm actually on our delivery route in Kansas City right now. We're running a couple of hours late thanks to a processing issue this morning. So you got to love being an entrepreneur, right? Can you hear me at all?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. We use the platform called Shopify. We used to use WordPress and WooCommerce years ago. We didn't keep it, but maybe a year. We felt it like it was clunky and really, really difficult to use, and we switched over to Shopify and absolutely loved it because there's pre-built templates. You can customize your color, the whole 9 yards. And if you'll look at our Shanker Farms website, I don't know if you have that up right now or not, but it looks kind of fancy, but it's really just a template with some cool colors so that we plug our pictures into, which is kind of nice. One of the things I really love about Shopify is it's fully integrated with any Department of Revenue in the country with any zip code. So it automatically collects the appropriate amount of sales tax. I know other platforms, I believe Squarespace is one of them, don't automatically collect that sales tax if you're dealing with states that have destination-based sales tax like Kansas and Missouri do. That can be a really huge issue if you have multiple orders coming in. This automatically collects it. So at the end of the month, when you do our sales tax return, it's a real just print it off and go. Another thing with Shopify, you can add a product, you can change a product. Our CSA boxes, for example, that we partner with another farm on, I can change the box contents in less than 30 seconds. Boom, click save, it's done. It's live as soon as I hit save. Not a big deal. We like it too for our meat because we mainly do meat and eggs. So if I have, I'll use chicken breast, for example, we sell by the pound because in Kansas, by law, you have to sell it by the pound. So I can put in 1.32 pounds. So if I have 10 chicken breasts that are 1.32 pounds per package, I can put 10 in there for that inventory, hit save. People can click on the drop-down box, and it's just super easy for them to deal with. Whenever their order comes in to my email, I can print it off, and it's an automatic pick ticket. I also get a notification on my phone, that, hey, you have a Shopify order. So it's nice. With Shopify, you have the option of using a different credit card processor. We use Heartland Payment Systems because they are not a reseller, they're an actual processor, and they're the cheapest one in the biz with the best service. So like most shopping cart systems, you need a gateway to do that, which is just your link between the card processor and your website. Not a big deal. Shopify costs me roughly $350 a year. I pay it, I think, in March. My gateway is a very, very small monthly fee. I want to say it's $15 a month. And then, of course, I pay my credit card processor every month, depending on how much money I spend, or get spent with me, rather. So anyway, so that's kind of how we deal with Shopify. We currently sell at the Overland Park Farmers Market. That's the only market that we do. We also run a home delivery route typically on Wednesdays. We run a CSA program for a few big companies in the Kansas City metro area and like in Joplin, Missouri and such. So Shopify makes it easy for us. We can send out a text because we use a texting app to our folks and say, get your pre-orders in. If they don't want to text in their pre-order, they can go to Shopify, they can prepay, boom, boom. If money's collected, money's in my bank account, which makes me happy, and I can go pick it and go on. It's there at market rate to pick up, or they can have it delivered for a small fee, if that makes any remote sense. One of the things I would warn with Shopify or with any shopping cart system is, you have to stay on top of it, but that's with any website that's not static. It's kind of a living, breathing being that can be a colossal pain in the tail at sometimes. You have to keep it updated. If it's not updated, people don't have something to buy. If they don't have something to buy, you're not selling anything. So another cool thing with Shopify on the back end, I can see who has an abandoned shopping cart. So if they get far enough into the system that they've filled their cart and provided me their email, of course, I can reach out to them and say, hey, do you have any questions? We require an email and a phone number to even enter the system. So like with all the craziness right now, and we're doing so many deliveries in Kansas City, if it's a really large order, I can pick up the phone and say, hey, did you have any questions? I noticed you had an abandoned cart. What questions can I answer for you? Just a reminder, we're delivering on Wednesday, or you can pick up at the Overland Park Farmers Market, or, well, not Overland Park right now because they're closed, but at the alternate market at 95th and Woodward. So little things like that also makes it really handy for me. I can set up delivery rates based on zip codes. I can set up shipping on there. It'll talk to FedEx, it'll talk to UPS, it'll talk to USPS. I can eliminate certain zip codes and say, okay, if you're not in this zip code, sorry, we can't sell to you because we don't ship there. Like we probably wouldn't ship to Greenland or something crazy like that. But there's just all kinds of things you can do with it. If I want to send a coupon code out in my constant contact, hey, flash sale, I can put date parameters on that and say, okay, this coupon code's good for 48 hours. or I can put a birthday coupon code on there for somebody's birthday if they've provided it. All kinds of stuff like that. We're running a special right now that you refer a neighbor in your neighborhood, and next time you order, you use a certain coupon code, and you get a free dozen eggs. When they order, they get a free dozen eggs. So little things like that, you can set it to do all sorts of stuff. You can even set it to where they can only use that coupon once. They can use it within certain dates, you name it. There's just all kinds of stuff you can do with it. And we've had it now close to 10 years. And with the templates, you can refresh your website, make it look all fancy and new every 2 or 3 years like it's recommended with very little effort. And if you're looking for quality photos that are stock photos, we get them from Adobe. You have to, it's just a subscription. You buy a subscription for a month and get all the photos that you want. So I have 400 or 500 in my stockpile. So of every cut to meet, no to man, I think. So yeah. But any other questions? Can you hear me at all? I feel like I just cut out.
We will
Anyone
have
there?
questions at the end. The questions will be at the end, and we have a chat box there, so please enter them.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sherry. Thanks for joining on your route, delivering, and that's really helpful. Again, she was talking about Shopify, and we'll be sending out information to contact everybody, after this call. Our next presenter is Katie Nixon, the director of our food systems programs here in West Central, and she'll be speaking about Green Gate Farm and how they use their web store.
Too many buttons to press, I tell you what. Okay. Here we go. Start the slideshow. All right. And it's not on the right one. Went to the end. Okay. So my farm, my husband and I run it here in Wheatland, Missouri, which is where I am right now. We've been certified organic since 2014. We do bedding plants, annual and perennial produce, cut flowers, and eggs. We have about 67 acres, but really we only manage about 5 of them, with 3 acres of poultry that we only do eggs for. And then we do about 1.25 acres of orchard and a little less than 3/4 of an acre of annual produce. And 2 high tunnels and 1 greenhouse. And it's just the 2 of us with a couple of workers that we employ to help us on the farm. And our sales outlets are 60% retail and 40% wholesale. And we're working on doing more 50-50, I think, in the coming years. We're gross average about 65,000 last year. 2 years ago, we had a really bad tomato season, which kind of hurt our average. But we're working on about 70,000 is a good year for us. We switched to online sales when we decided that we were done with the farmers market. We really wanted to transition to a more sane life. We live 2 hours from our market in Kansas City, and so going back and forth was not sustainable. Getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like pretty much every Saturday for the rest of my life, was not what I was interested in. So when we decided we wanted to do, because our model was almost 90% of our sales were through one farmer's market, and so we had to sort of transition our growing and a little bit of our sales in order to reach the sales we needed to reach. And so going online made a lot of sense. We started a CSA as well, but we started our online sales with Wix, because that was who we had our website through, and we transitioned to Barn to Door last year, and just this week alone we've seen a 600% increase in our online sales. So basically going from an average of 6 pretty good sales, good solid customers that would spend $50 a week with us, now we have 42 customers for the last 3 weeks or less that we've done the order. So the online system, having it up and running was really, really important. So our Wix store, I built, Wix is really a fun platform to use. They've got a lot of plugins. It's really fun to play with, except when something goes wrong and the website isn't working properly, it's really hard to figure out what's going on. So I liked my Wix store. The plugin store was a little bit dysfunctional from a customer standpoint. At least that's the feedback we were getting. And so we were sort of feeling a lot of pressure to have a really good, fancy online store for our customers since we were going to be leaving the farmers market. So Barn to Door are here. I'll show you a little bit of Wix in the back end. These are some of the items. Listing them was pretty easy, but it wasn't necessarily functional in terms of running reports or collating things very well. Like the spreadsheet that was downloaded was really big and bulky and hard to sort. So the pros and cons of our Wix store was it wasn't too expensive. So 2 years of a business basics, which allowed us to do e-commerce, was $480 prepaid up front. And again, they have great tools for building websites. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool plugins that you can use. The cons were that, and I can't see my cons because my thing is in the way, but the site takes a long time to load, like what Kat was talking about. We have really slow internet, so like to edit the site and edit the store, sometimes it would take me like several minutes to get in there, and I just wanted to get it done really quickly and get out. So that was really hard. And so again, the order or the list that we were downloading off the store was challenging when on the back end, and I didn't have the time or the bandwidth in my brain to sort through it very well. So when so when Barn to Door called us and started to woo us onto their site, I was impressed with all of the things that they had, and I was excited about it. So that is kind of why we switched over. At first, they gave us sort of a new website, which was fine. I liked our other website too, but it's now in Squarespace. This is what our store looks like now. It's connected to our website. So when someone presses shop on our greengatefamilyfarm.com website, it actually opens up into a new window into their Barn to Door app, which is kind of interesting. So like, let's say there's another farm called Jet Produce in Kansas that's also on Barn to Door. So if somebody was shopping in the Barn to Door app, they could actually put stuff from our farm in their cart, and they could put stuff from Jet Produce in their cart. And they could check out at the same time, and then Barn to Door would sort it out on the back end. And basically the customer would be picking different delivery spots or pickup spots based on which farm they were shopping with. So it's kind of interesting. It hasn't really been functional for us or useful, but maybe in the future it could be. So this banner at the top, you can see to learn more about us at greengatefamilyfarm.com. Originally, they didn't even have, like, you couldn't link back to the website, and we requested, and maybe other farmers did too, to actually be able to link back to the website. So they actually added a go to the website plugin there. You can see it's circled. One function I like about the store is that the customer can sort by category. Like, we have 100 or 70 items listed right now, and most of them are bedding plants. So if somebody was looking for vegetables or for eggs, they could just weed out all the bedding plants and just look at eggs. So I liked that functionality. On the front end, it's also pretty easy to use on a phone, and it's pretty snazzy. So you can see our CSA is already sold out, which is maybe unusual this time of the year for us. Usually we have like 10 spaces open by the end of April, but now we have a waiting list. So there's a lot of interest in local food right now. I'm not going to attribute that to our website, but it did make it easy to just sort of list the CSA that way rather than have a form that they mail in and then me having to organize it. This is the way they pick their option of where they're going to pick up or delivery. We do offer delivery during the season. We do charge $7. I do not want to get into the business of door-to-door delivery. That's not, that will make me go insane, I think. So right now we really encourage pickup. We go to one apartment building in Kansas City where we have quite a few customers, and then the Brookside Farmers Market right now, I said I quit the farmers market, but we actually go to the winter Brookside Farmers Market, and then we go for 6 weeks in the spring for the bedding plant season, and then we stop doing the market. So right now the pickup is in Brookside, and it will be in the future too, because we have a house that we are able to distribute at. And then they can also pick up at the farm. So these are the options the customers see. Okay, so this is the back end. I've just blotted out the customers' names for privacy. You can see it sort of lists all of the orders you've had. You can go to the upcoming orders tab, and it will download a pick list and a pack list. So instead of me having to sort through all of the orders and like tally up how many Swiss chard there is and how many kales and how many eggs, there's actually pack list that I can have like everything in one page that shows me what I need to harvest that day. And then I can have my pack list, which shows me which customer that order or that particular item belongs to. So I really like that function. That saves me about 2 hours every Friday when I'm trying to organize my order in the morning. This is the items list. Pretty easy to list an item. There's some clunkiness to it, but it's pretty good mostly. You can see this is what I see, this is not what the customers see. This is our scheduling. You can do delivery zones and pickup zones, and you can do promos. You can do order reminders. Okay, so this is my last slide here, and actually, is this my last slide? Yes. So one of the things it does is integrate with MailChimp, which we use occasionally. We use it with our CSA a lot. And so we all of the customers that are on there now can be synced with MailChimp. It integrates with Facebook, so you can share items directly from the store onto Facebook, and it drives people to your website or to your store and to that particular item. You actually have 3 different stores. So there's a wholesale store, which my restaurants use. There's a retail store, which all my retail customers use. And then there's a private store, which I haven't been able to really use yet, but I'm hoping to maybe play around with that with my CSA customers. So it's only who you invite to see the store that can actually see the store. Again, the pick and pack list, I love them. They're like my favorite feature of the website. So maybe I'm paying a lot for those because it is, you know, about $1,000 a year. But we were paying $1,000 or $1,200 to go to our farmers market, so it's sort of a balance there. The support is pretty fantastic. It's a really energetic crew out there in Seattle. They're building new features every day. You can request things and they'll work on it. They are very customer friendly. They have a chat box, which I circled down there. So when the customer is on the website, they can always chat with the staff there if they're in. It's also a relatively new company, which is a pro and a con. They're willing to work with you. They're willing to be flexible. But I asked them when we joined, I was like, so what happens when you guys go under? So, you know, we have a contingency plan. It doesn't integrate with our CSA, which is okay. It feels a little expensive, but it seems to be competitive for what it's being offered. It is lacking some features like a drop-down menu, like my tomatoes. I have 20 different kinds of tomato plants available, so I had to enter all 20 of them rather than having one tomato plant with a drop-down menu for 20. So I didn't really like that. They're working on that apparently. Also, the store opens away from the website. It opens up in a new platform, not on the website. So I kind of thought that was weird. One thing it doesn't generate sales tax, and then also it doesn't restock your shelves automatically. So like Local Food Marketplace we use for the Kansas City Food Hub, it restocks your inventory automatically. You don't have to go in there every time. And I really like that feature, but they don't have that feature on Barn to Door. And there's other things too, but I'm pretty happy with it right now. I like hearing about all the other platforms though too from the other farmers. So thanks, and I'll look for your questions in the chat.
Thanks, Katie. Again, questions in the chat. And our next one is Karen Velez out of Peculiar, Missouri, Wolf Creek Family Farm.
Is she unmuted?
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, yes, hi. So I'm Karen Velez, Wolf Creek Family Farm in Peculiar, Missouri. That's in Cass County, about 30 minutes south of Kansas City. We sell produce, pork, eggs, other farm products, spring garden plants. We've been in operation since 2007. We did our first CSA deliveries and first farmers markets in 2008. We have a 50-member CSA program and attend 5 farmers markets across 3 days each week. One of those, the largest of those, runs April through mid-November. The others are just summer markets that run June through September. But those farmers market sales account for pretty much all of our farm's income from April through November timeframe. We take all of our CSA payments and everything in the off season, and those have to be paid in full by March 1st. So this is the time of year when it's all farmers market. I'd say 65% of our annual farm income comes from the farmers markets. So when that largest farmers market that we attend announced in mid-March that they would delay opening until the middle of May, we had to make a change really quickly. We no longer do much in the way of wholesale. Pretty much everything that we do is direct to the customer. So if you're counting, that would have been about 6 weeks with 0 sales on our end. We also have a large portion of our customers too that are in that vulnerable group for this coronavirus thing, a lot of older customers. And so for safety reasons and such, we decided that we needed to switch over to making weekly home deliveries to our customers. And so we needed an online store and ordering system that would work for that. We previously had a shopping cart that was attached to our CSA software, but it was really clunky. It didn't really work very well. We only used it in the wintertime for our monthly kind of deliveries that way, so it wasn't something we wanted to use. So we chose Square because we already use that system for processing credit cards, and so and there's no charge. It's basically free, other than the credit card processing fees that we already pay. So we didn't really look at any other options because we were under a time crunch. I got this up and running within about 3 days of making the decision to start doing home deliveries and online orders. So this version of the Square online storefront is different than it was before. If you looked into using Square, it's different now. In March of 2019, they started using Weebly, the web design platform, because they took over Weebly. And so their goal with this platform was to make it easy for brick and mortar stores to have an online store too. It's definitely not designed for a farm. Or even, somebody who just does deliveries on set days and times. So we've had to find some workarounds for a few things to get this up and running. It's fairly straightforward to use, right? These are kind of the pros of the system. You choose how you want the navigation to look, the layout, the color scheme. The Weebly platform walks you through it all. There's a step-by-step guide that takes you from the site design. This is kind of the area here where you see, you've got your drop-down navigation that allows you to go ahead and make your changes over here. It walks you through adding an item to sell. Very straightforward, the title, the description, adding any images that go along with it. It helps you manage adding the sales tax, and then takes you into enabling the pickup and delivery options. You can see here, this is unlike what Katie was saying with her platform not having a drop down, this one does. We can say these are our microgreens, and you can enter in the different flavors of microgreens and their pricing, and that's a drop down that the customer sees on their front side. You can actually use this platform to create an entire website, not just the online shop. We already had a website, so I created this strictly as a shopping platform and linked to it from our online shopping page on our existing website. If you don't have your own website already, they do provide a free site address that you can use, or you can connect to a custom one that you purchase that's your farm name or whatever. But you'd have to upgrade to a paid version of the Square store in order to be able to do that. So this not only integrates with Square, but it also integrates with Google Pay and Apple Pay options if you want to use those, and there's no additional cost to use those either. You can also allow it to do PayPal payments as another option, but again, that's another upgrade from the free web store to a paid version. One of the other pros to it being integrated with Square is that your existing items in inventory from that processing platform will translate over to this platform and vice versa. They sync with each other pretty seamlessly with just a couple of exceptions, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But accessing your orders and your inventory is also pretty easy to do in a couple of different ways. You can either log in from your computer, or you can use either the Weebly app or the Square app from your phone or your tablet to make updates on the fly. I use it to update inventory while I'm outside in the field. I can say, okay, we just picked X amount of spinach. We're going to have X amount available. I also use it to update the order statuses to complete as I'm making deliveries, and that generates an email to the customer that lets them know the stuff is sitting on their front porch in their cooler and they can go out and get it. I can be completely hands-off if I want to be. So that part of it's pretty handy. The site also allows for the sales of gift cards for customers. They can either use them online or in person later on when the markets finally do open back up, fingers crossed. And then, or they can send them electronically to somebody else to use in your store. And then you can also offer coupons and sales and such pretty easily. And then there's also a lot of interesting features that allow you to integrate with Facebook and Instagram, Google Analytics, and Pinterest. I've honestly not had time to play around with any of them. They look really interesting, and if you're already in any of those other platforms, it's an interesting way to kind of combine it all and get it all kind of hooked together. That being said, there are drawbacks. Yes, it's easy to set up, but enabling the pickup and delivery options has been tricky. I mentioned that this platform was meant for brick and mortar stores, and it's very obvious when it comes to the pickup and delivery thing. That kind of comes with the assumption that a store has regular hours. So the pickup options take some manipulation around when the orders will be ready for delivery. And I've had to find workarounds with several issues related to this. We're only doing deliveries on Tuesdays and Fridays, and there's no way to set within the settings to say, okay, ordering gets cut off by Monday at 5 for Tuesday orders. So if somebody sends an order in Tuesday morning, it's still going to say, hey, your delivery will be ready Tuesday by 2 o'clock, which is not the case. So they also went ahead and just last week added delivery options, which also does not allow for specific days, only a window for how long it's going to take to prep it. And it also doesn't allow it to set specific cities or zip codes, just a delivery range. So we've worked around this by putting very specific verbiage on the site that says, this is where we do deliver to, these are the days we deliver, this is your ordering cutoff. And most of the customers have gotten really good about it. I tweaked that over the first couple of weeks and got it to where I like it now. But there's still some confusion sometimes with new customers. And so sometimes I just have to jump on and send them an email and say, hey, sorry, I know the confirmation email said Tuesday, you're actually in our Friday delivery. So, and everybody's been super, willing to look past it because they know that we're bending over backwards right now to get them the stuff that they need. So going forward, if this was to be a permanent situation, we would have to find a different way of doing this.
Karen, we'll have to wrap in just a minute. Thank you.
Okay. Another small drawback comes from the integration with Square. If you guys already use Square, you know that categories within Square's checkout is meant to help you find things easily. Categories in online store is different. It's actually set up for the customers. So you'll have to set up different categories within the online site and move your items in there. Not a big deal, but something to know about ahead of time because I didn't and I messed things up royally for the first time. So the only other thing is that you do need, if you're going to on the fly do inventory and orders from your mobile, you will need both of the Weebly and Square apps. One works for updating inventory, one works for updating the order statuses. So other than that, it's working okay for us for a situation that is free, and we got up and running really, really quickly. And I will totally stick around and answer questions if you guys have them. So.
Thanks, Karen. That again was the Square system, which is connected to Weebly. And our next presenter is Alicia Ellingsworth, and she'll be talking about what they use at KC Farm School in Kansas City.
Okay. Thanks, Patty. Thanks, everybody. Are you seeing a Food Hub screen? Yes, okay, great. So yeah, I'm going to talk about Squarespace, and that's what we use on our farm, KC Farm School at Gibbs Road. But I also wanted to just share a little bit about Local Food Marketplace. Our farm is one of 17 farms that are part of the Kansas City Food Hub. It's a cooperative association. We work together to usually meet the middle market, so cafeterias, school cafeterias, corporate cafeterias, grocery stores, some larger restaurants. This year that market went away, and so we pivoted, and because we were using Local Food Marketplace for our wholesale clients, we were able to jump on a subscription that allowed us to manage a farm share. So we are now doing neighborhood deliveries. We're kind of doing a little bit of neighborhood organizing and asking people to come together in groups of 10, and with that group of 10, we'll deliver to that neighborhood. We started off with 2 neighborhoods. We'll bump up to 4 neighborhoods, so over 100 this next Monday, and it looks like we'll be close to 400 farm shares by June 1st. That's the goal, and it feels like it's really doable. So the Local Food Marketplace has been really good. We've been using it for, we're going into our 3rd year. We really like it. Someone else was going to talk about it, but I wanted to share that. So at KC Farm School, we are a nonprofit. We're on historic farmland, about 3 acres, and it's a peri-urban farm. One of our borders is an interstate highway. We have a cell tower, and then 2 borders are housing. People are living on 3 borders of the farm. We're 3 acres, and we grow on just about 2 acres. So we're pretty new, and when we're looking for a website, we chose Squarespace. We liked how, let me see. We liked how it looks. We liked how this moved, right? We liked the buttons across the top, the categories. And we really like the buttons that are throughout the screen. These features were one of the things that we liked. And then you can see. So I think we were kind of lucky because we were just putting together a website. We weren't really thinking about e-commerce at that time. So we did start selling our CSA through our Squarespace account. And so we would just sign people up with the products that we listed. So you can see those are still live. Sorry. So we like that it's easy to use, it's easy to add on, the pages are easy to scroll through, fun to build. There are a lot of YouTube videos that help you sort through questions that that I had, and so those were always handy to use. It integrates well with Google. In fact, our emails come through Squarespace, and they're basically Google emails that look like farm school emails. We can continue to add more users and at additional cost. So this is the back end, saying that it's easy to build. The pages are named. You could even, well, I move the pages around and changes the order. And then we can create products down here. So we can have many things listed, everything from CSA to donations. I don't know why that's spinning, to transplants. I'm going to skip away from here. Our transplant sale is going on right now. So early in the season, we do a lot of transplants. And our goal this year was about $11,000, and we're about 35% over that as a projection this year. So a lot of people looking for transplants, a lot of demand, and our online store helped us reach those people. Oh, we're getting there. And so we put this together like everybody else, basically overnight, when we realized that we couldn't have customers in the greenhouse. So people can scroll through the online store day or night. When they place an order, they let us know when they're going to pick up. We have 3 pickup days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then 2 times in between that. So we try, sometimes we have 2 or 3 people waiting in the parking lot, but it works pretty easily that they tell us when they're coming and we move them through pretty fast. I liked what Katie said about being able to sort by categories. We can't, at least I haven't found a way to sort by category, so they have to shop for everything. And then the list gets long, and then we even add food at the bottom. When someone places it, well, the inventory is helpful. It helps us know how many we have left, easy to change the prices, easy to put something on sale, take it off sale, correct the inventory up or down. And then when someone places an order, we get a nice email letting us know, contact info, what they ordered, when they're picking up. And then as far as managing the inventory, we also get an email immediately following saying that the stock is low on whatever the stock is low on. $26 a month, we pay it annually. I don't know if it's cheaper, it's $350 that way. We use Stripe as the credit card processor in addition to Squarespace, and that is 2.9% on every charge, and it's 30 plus 30 cents on every charge. We found that to be cheaper than PayPal or Square, so that's why we chose Stripe. And then we also, since we're a nonprofit, we also have a donor page, so we have that also links and ties back to the website. So I would say that the pros are definitely that it's easy and fun to use. We use our own photos exclusively, easy to upload them, change them. It's really a blank page kind of website that you move the photos around and create the size you want. It's not a really strict template. So that's great because it can be creative, but it's also a little bit frustrating too until you get the hang of that.
1 minute, Alicia.
Am I done?
1 minute. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I really liked that that it integrates really well with Google and that we are able to keep the inventory. So because again, we did this really quickly, I'm not really sure what kind of long-term printout that we can get. We do get reports weekly on the sales. So there's a little bit more that I need to learn about. Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia. Again, that was KC Farm School and Squarespace platform. Our last presenter is Carolyn Pam with Kitchen Garden Farm in Sunderland, Massachusetts.
Are you able to hear me now? All right, I'm gonna get. So I have been working with Local Food Marketplace for my vegetable farm. I'm in Massachusetts, in the Connecticut River Valley, and we grow 50 acres of a huge variety of vegetables. And we also make value-added products with our own ingredients. So we make sriracha and salsas with our own peppers, tomatoes, tomatillos. But we're growing for stores and restaurants in our local area, but also shipping to Boston and New York, Rhode Island, Western, Berkshires, part of Massachusetts. So we're growing a lot of vegetables. And I started working with Local Food Marketplace as a sort of order management system. And it was built for food hubs like a previous presenter was describing. But we've been using it as a single farm since 2014, I believe. Just because it saved me 10 hours a week in just order management. The people, my customers, would enter their order online through their nice ordering platform that looks kind of like this one. And then with a click of a button, I would get my harvest list generated. I would get my pack list for the washroom generated. I could download CSVs and import into my Dymo thermal label printer and get all of my case labels printed. Which is a really helpful check in the washroom. If you've got a ticket still standing, you've missed something. And all the invoicing, I don't have to manually enter invoicing and all of that. So I just was using that for my single farm operation. But in the moment of COVID, in March 13th, I think it was the Friday that it sort of became a real deal. I called together a bunch of my local farmer friends in my town, and we decided that we would launch a collaborative, which is, I think, the page that you can see here, using the same Local Food Marketplace platform, but for its full use as a food hub. And so we've pooled together our farms, and at this point, we are now also selling produce from about 25 other farms just right in my immediate vicinity. Let's see if I can scroll down here, all the different operations. And so we are, I'm gonna see if I can go back to my backside here. So here are all the farms, and just in the past 3 weeks, I think we've been in operation, sold about $100,000 worth of farm products. And we're doing 2 days a week delivery. We have home delivery option in about a dozen towns just in our immediate corridor. And we also partnered with some local businesses to offer pickup locations. And we started initially partnering with butcher shops for the most part and another little farm store in our town, thinking, great, we don't really necessarily need to put meat in our vegetable boxes, but you can place an order directly with these other partner businesses to pick up at the same time for contactless curbside pickup. But we very quickly discovered that the demand for local food and delivered in a safe way at this particular moment way exceeded the capacity of these partner businesses. So we've had to relocate our pickup locations to partner with breweries that have coolers that can accommodate pallets of boxes, not just, a dozen. So at this point in week 3, we're doing, I think we're going to end up like 650 to 700 discrete orders, discrete, families that we're delivering food to this week, just in 2 delivery days. So about 170 home deliveries and, the remainder per day. So 4 different vehicles going on 4 different routes for the whole day to reach 170 customers on a given day. So about 325 boxes is as many as we figure we can pack, having received 25 different producers delivering to our farm, which was not built for this. It's just my farm, but we're just making it work. But it seems like some of the features that we're really using for local food marketplace in this food hub capacity. One of the most important is the route management. I'll pull up just what we delivered today, was a distribution day. Just my home deliveries. They've integrated now with Routific, which is a separate piece of software. And so these are just my 4 drivers that I had on the road today, and I import all of my orders, and you can export a CSV, import it into Routific, and then Routific will optimize your route and divide it. If you tell it you have 4 drivers, it'll find the most efficient way to get all of those orders delivered to those 4 routes. And then you can re-import it here, and I now have my drivers with their list of customers and their orders, and I can generate these ordered starting from my starting point at my farm, all of the delivery locations from beginning to end, with all of the delivery notes that those customers have input when they created their order with specifics. And it'll also grab the phone number, so just in the one click on the phone, the driver can tap that phone number and let them know that their order has arrived. Other important features of here, I'll go back here, local food marketplace. The pick list is key. So here's me right now. We just we have greens from our tunnels, and we have value-added products. But let's see, I can show you what a pick list looks like. So it'll give you the the cumulative count. You're talking about if it's 126 half-pound bags. Sometimes you can set this up depending how you choose to. For my personal farm site, I do set it up so I have it all in by the pound, so that you can do different unit sizes. I do a 3-pound bag, I do a 5-pound bag, or I do a half-pound retail bag, and it'll do the math for you, figuring out how many pounds you're talking about. But I took a shortcut because I was launching this collaborative page very quickly. But it just gives you a very quick snapshot of what you need to harvest that day. What other things are important to know? I also do a Squarespace online shopping for our products, because the produce mostly we're delivering, to places we can reach by truck. However, the products that we produce, we can ship all over the country. So I have a Squarespace store integrated in my website. And I've been quickly selling out of a lot of products in this moment of high demand, but another important feature for doing online sales for shipping through the mail, which I don't know if anyone's doing, but it integrates with ShipStation, which I didn't preload here, but maybe I can get it up here real quick. But this integrates with the U.S. Postal Service and with FedEx and with, I can't get to my login because it's blocked by all of this GoToMeeting stuff. In any case, for my online store, I find it really essential that I use ShipStation to link to the post office and UPS and FedEx, and I can generate my shipping labels through it, and then I can track what orders have, I can do the tracking in one big dashboard. But in terms of other factors that are really important, let's see. Oh, I was going to go to here. So for my main farm, I have just so many different products. We grow hundreds of different things. For hot peppers alone, we have 100 different varieties. Oh, this is being very slow right now. But in any case, this view as another feature as a big farm. Here, I'll go back to the pack orders because it's got a module that you can link up for lot tracking, which as a big farm and with value-added products that we're selling to Whole Foods in the New York and Boston areas, being able to do like traceability for FSMA, for our vegetables, as well as our products is essential. So this is the view of the pack order page, where these are all of your orders for this one day that you're packing out in the washroom. And you can add the batch code, which for vegetables is just the field and the date that we harvest it. But for our value-added products, it's the expiration date that is tagged on every case or every bottle. So you have traceability that's linked with every invoice. So this is, Local Food Marketplace has been really busy the last couple of years, building out a lot of new capacity that sort of goes beyond some of the systems that I've seen. That just, you know, there's just so much more regulatory compliance that they're built out to do. Let's see what else is really important. Other, you know, very helpful features are
Carolyn, we'll wrap in 1 minute.
okay. It does have the autofill for your inventory. You can set it either to refresh the amount that you had listed the previous week every week, or you can actually, if you have finite inventory, you can have it refresh from the amount that was remaining at the end of the last period. So that's a very useful thing. But then also just like, there's just a million different ways that you can access your data when you have all your orders in there. So, you know, the orders by product is what we use in the washroom. When all of the kale comes in from the field, you can see all of the kale orders together and then, you know, cross-check that you filled all your orders. But let's see. Yeah, I've been just learning a lot about running it as a food hub, which has been very new for me. But the system is also very good if you do sell anybody else's products alongside your own. The Local Food Marketplace has the capacity to quickly generate the reports for paying out the other producers and tracking all of your sales. And I do extensive reporting. It does have also a module to link with your QuickBooks if you wanted to have all of that revenue just automatically sync into your accounting software. Which is another massive amount of time saved. So.
Thank you, Carolyn. There was one question about your routing system. Is that a separate program or a plug-in?
So I did get it launched here. This is the route we just completed today. Routific is up here, the URL. And you can use it, you know, even if you're not using Local Food Marketplace, you can, let's see how I get to stops. So you can create a route and upload a list of stops, which you can just bring in a CSV. So if your system that's not Local Food Marketplace is able to just spit out a list of orders in a CSV file, you can import them here. And then you just define, you know, how many drivers you have, what address they're starting from, and you assign them a phone number. And then let's go back to the routing page here. Then all of the stops, just you hit optimize route and it will assign them to the number of drivers that you've created. And then they'll each be itemized here, and you can view the details on the side here. And these greens are the drivers in their car on their phone as they're using the, you know, app to navigate from stop A to stop B. They can just mark it as complete. And then I, as the dispatch on the, you know, at the desk while the drivers are all out, I can see where they're at, and I'm monitoring the email. If somebody's saying, hey, I got one of my boxes, but half my order's not there, I can see where my driver is at on that route and reach out to them and say, hey, I think you might be still missing the second box on your truck. So this has been revolutionary for us. The first week of running, you know, 320 deliveries on a day without this software, just trying to like import a CSV into the Google Maps was not nearly as good as this. And this is not cheap. You pay per driver, it's a monthly fee, but I was spending, you know, hours the night before a route looking at the Google Maps and trying to sort out which invoices belonged on which route and which driver, and this is just amazing.
Thanks, Carolyn. We have just a few minutes left, and I want to let everybody know that we will be sending out, a follow-up with everybody and an evaluation, which would be really helpful if you send to us. Real quickly, with these last minutes, we had one question for everybody about traceability in your platform. And if you could go around and comment on that and/or customer experience, which is really important. There's the farmer experience, but what do your customers feel like when they're using your platform? Just real quickly, and then we'll have to wrap up tonight. And we'll start with Katie. No.
There we go. Okay, so I think the customer experience was at the high point of our choice. Like when we made a decision, we said we need to make sure this is really customer friendly. And I think Barn to Door really is built for the customer, but also for the farmer. So we had like 10 people complain about the Wix store. At that point, it was sort of the tipping point. I said, all right, we need a better interface for our customers. Unfortunately, Barn to Door does not have any traceability capabilities. I find Local Food Marketplace is by far and above just fantastic software, but it is expensive. So you really need to be having a volume of product to go through there.
Thanks, Katie. We'll go to Alicia around traceability and customer experience for Squarespace. And then Katrina after that.
So Squarespace is really a beautiful, fun site, I think, for people to go through. They get feedback. I think it's great. Traceability, we haven't looked at that function yet, so I don't have any feedback on that. I'm sorry.
All right. Thanks, Kat Becker with Cattail Organics Traceability Customer Experience.
Yeah, so this has been relatively short-lived, right? But the people that have placed online orders for this week have all been enthusiastic. You know, a lot of them are my super fans, so I'm not sure it's a very good sample size, but traceability is not built in. I haven't even looked into it, although I wouldn't be surprised if I could embed it through a lot of the different plugins. So if you're thinking about WooCommerce, literally just Google WooCommerce and then tracing software or things like that. There's a lot of plugins that you can explore. And yeah, we do our wholesale system still fully separate. And if we do integrate it, it's something that I would like to have there, but that's where we're at. I clearly have little people next to me.
Okay, thanks. Remy, if you're on, could you talk about customer experience real quick or traceability with Gray's Cart?
Yeah, customer service has been great. People really, or customer friendliness has been great. We've gotten a lot of great feedback. That's been one of our largest reasons. All of our delivery drivers on farm sales, we all ask new customers, how did you find us? One, and then what was the biggest turn on? What really made you decide to go ahead and purchase? And the biggest answers have been, one, we found you online, and two, we decided to go with you because you guys had your website was easy to use and made you look like you knew what you were doing. So we've gotten really good feedback on that. As far as traceability, are you asking about like being able to track batches of product going out?
Okay. All right, thanks. And Karen Velez with Wolf Creek Family Farm in Peculiar, Missouri.
Yeah, so Square does not have any kind of a traceability feature. One of the things I failed to mention was that their reporting of their and exporting of the orders is kind of clunky. We have worked around it a little bit by using the export feature for the orders, which brings it into an Excel spreadsheet that I can then manipulate. And then I'm using that Excel spreadsheet to enter our batches or our batch numbers, and that's what I file. So it's not integrated into the system at all. But again, it's not designed to be. As far as customer experience, most everybody has been pretty happy with the experience. We've had 1 or 2 glitches here and there with customers saying they either couldn't get to the site or the link wasn't working properly. But most instances, I think that was either a user error or them just not refreshing their screen. So for the most part, they've all been pretty happy.
Great. Thanks again. I think we did talk with Carolyn already about that. These 7 presenters, thank you so much for your time and your expertise here. Thank you for all attending. We hope it's helpful.
Did you hear the traceability on Shopify?
Sorry, no. Oh, I'm sorry.
I must have had it on mute.
Sherry's she's still out delivering, so she wasn't able to stay on the line. But we'll try and find that out for you.
No, I'm still on the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Sherry. Go for it.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things I do like about Shopify is it does have a lot of traceability. I can immediately on my backdoor page see where customers came from. Was it Pinterest, Facebook, Direct, Google? What? How much time did they spend on a page? How much time did they spend on a product? What are the top 10 products they're spending time on? I can also, look to see, are these products listed on Pinterest? Are these products listed on Facebook or Instagram, etc.? I also really like the fact there's a plugin on there that we use when my phone isn't in the shop, where they can instantly message me, like a chat with your farmer. And if people have a question and you can instantly answer it, they're going to stay on your site and majority of the time complete the sale. So for that, it works really well. And I really like the reporting on it as well. I just recently did a report, to kind of compare by quarter, by 5-year different quarters to see what our web sales have increased, decreased during different quarters, months, etc.
Great. Thank you. And we will be summarizing the questions and answers, including traceability referring to food safety, which is partly what the questioner was looking at, in a web post that will follow this, and we'll send you the link with the recording of the webinar. And again, watch for an email where it would be really great if you could fill out our evaluation. That's coming soon, and then notice of the posting with the recording and questions and answer. Thank you, everybody, for attending and speaking. It's really great to build our community and share this knowledge that you all have. Good luck, everybody. Have a great season.
Thank you.
And Danny, you can log us off now. Huh?